Hi, everybody. It is Eamon here with another episode of Pat Monk Presents. Today, coming all the way from UK, we do have Anne from Spectro Cloud. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Eamon. Great to be here.
Great. I hope you're doing good. For those who are maybe not familiar with, Spectro Cloud, can you give us a quick download of what it is you do and how you help businesses so our listeners can be filled in?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a B2B company, we're a software company, and we make a product that's called Pallet. It's a SaaS product, and if you're not in the IT operations space, you will have no idea what I'm about to talk about, and this product will not be in any way relevant to you. But our audience is IT operations people, architects who deploy and run Kubernetes clusters. That's an orchestration platform for running containerized applications. Now that sounds awfully technical, but pretty much every large business is starting to run their applications ultimately on Kubernetes. And so we have customers like GE Healthcare that runs Kubernetes on MRI machines. We've got customers like Tevel out of Israel, a startup that runs Kubernetes on flying robots to pick fruit. And companies like T-Mobile, the US cellular operator that runs Kubernetes for all of its core applications. And our product is what allows them to manage their Kubernetes clusters.
Fantastic. Well, it's quite diverse from flying robot picking fruit machines to hospital applications to everything. So, I mean, it kind of leads me into the next question. Like, what's the main problem that you solve for your clients? I mean, besides flying robots, which I'd love to actually see, but like, what kind of industries do you find yourself focusing on?
Yeah, well, I mean, pretty much every industry uses Kubernetes. It's actually only been around for about 8 years now. It was open sourced by Google, and the adoption has just been stellar. And it's incredibly powerful, incredibly scalable, but it's actually also really complicated and hard to manage, particularly when you're doing it at scale. When you have lots of clusters to manage, lots of development teams. So really, then the problem becomes one about time and pain and risk of the operations teams having to manage these incredibly complicated environments. And applications running on Kubernetes is one thing, but when you're the operations team, you're also dealing with development teams who are making these applications, and they find Kubernetes just as complicated as the operations teams do. So what we really do is simplify the whole process of building, deploying, and running multiple Kubernetes clusters and the applications that go on them. It's all about simplicity and time savings, really.
Fantastic. And with this, when you're, let's say, dealing with different industries and Kubernetes, I mean, what do you find are the main channels that you're using to get the word out or build a brand awareness? Is it like, are you focused mostly on outreach? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Google? Is it branding? I mean, what seems to be working really good for you at the moment?
Well, I mean, the important thing to note here from a sort of marketing and sales perspective is we're part of the cloud native community, like the open source community, as much as anything. And it's a really technical audience, and it's also a real community feel. So we get a lot of our leads and connections by going to community events like KubeCon, which happened back in April, and all of those other kind of community and industry events. So we still sponsor a lot of those. We submit talks for a lot of those. We also do webinars, which are often kind of how-to technical kinds of webinars. And we publish a lot of content like blogs and white papers, some of which is quite in-depth and quite technical. It also comes a lot down to the credibility of human relationships. So we do a lot of employee advocacy on social and developer relations, that kind of stuff as well. It's really about trying to avoid triggering the allergic reaction that engineers, software developers have to marketing. Like it's a real if they feel like they're being sold to, they switch off immediately. They're the kind of people who will never fill in a form on a website, for example.
Fantastic. No, it is true. Definitely in what you're saying there. And like when you're doing like different things, like you're saying you're going to events, you're doing, let's say, white papers, you're doing webinars. I mean,
Yep.
let's say if you're doing webinars, I mean, are you driving people to the website, or even how important is your website at turning visitors into maybe future customers and clients?
Yeah, absolutely. It does all come back to the website. Like I've long lived by the mantra of never build your business on rented land. So, social networks and platforms like that are great for driving visitors to our website. We use BrightTalk, for example, to host our webinars, but ultimately everything comes back to our website. We use HubSpot as part of that for stuff like our lead generation forms and capturing contacts, and all of our archive of content, like our webinar recordings, our blogs, our white papers, they all live on our website. It's our kind of content hub, which then drives our SEO performance. Because again, this audience, they're hungry for educational knowledge. They go and put keywords into Google. That's where their search starts, and we hope that we're ultimately the destination for that.
No, it sounds good, and I really love it. I mean, a quick note over here: never build a business on rented land. I love that, because so many people are dependent on outside partners, whether it's e-commerce based 99% of their business on Amazon and stuff like that. So if something changes, but I'm going to use that. That would be a good bumper sticker, people. So
there we go. That one's free. You can take that.
If someone wants to make that a bumper sticker or put it on Instagram, feel free. So you heard it here first. Thank you for sharing that. And then let's say switching gears and talking more about you as a leader in marketing. I mean, what keeps you busy on a day-to-day basis?
Well, we're a startup. We're about 140 people, and our marketing team is fewer than 10 people. So it's a very varied role. I mean, that's why I was so excited to join Spectro Cloud. I was at Cisco before that, so a very different scale of business. I look after all kinds of stuff, from writing blogs, working with our engineers, through to crafting landing pages and emails for our nurture journeys, copy for social, working on event presentations and stuff like that. I still get very hands-on with content, and I started my career as a copywriter, so that will never be beaten out of me. I will always ultimately come back to writing some words. That's how I solve every problem. But it's here we have a really strong connection to our sales colleagues. So I spend time working with our sales engineers, with our SDRs, with our AEs on their opportunities and how we can help support them from a marketing perspective.
Fantastic, because teams that work together build much quicker.
Exactly.
Rather than being separated. And like looking at now that we're coming up towards the end of our interview, what I want to do is maybe jump into some rapid fire questions, put you in the hot seat if you're good with that.
Okay, let's do it.
So what was the last book you read or maybe currently reading?
Oh, I'm actually tackling Moby Dick at the moment, would you believe? And I'm really enjoying it as kind of rapid fire, fast paced romp, which I was absolutely not expecting. I did an English degree and thought that my days of reading the classics were behind me, but apparently not.
There we go. I've never read the book. Everybody knows the story, but
exactly. I thought it was about time.
Exactly. So, and also in what you're doing, let's say if you were to go back and it was your very first day, your very first month, whatever, and you're going back to the start at Spectro Cloud, what would you do differently knowing what you know now? Would you change anything or different strategies or different mindset?
Yeah, if it was my first day coming into Spectro Cloud, I'd get closer to sales quicker. I think ultimately we're all pursuing the same goal. I would also, I think, be more demand centric, and I think this is just the way our business is evolving. We've made a name for ourselves. We've got awareness, and now it's the time to start leading customers through the funnel with more of a demand mindset. So I'd get into that mind position faster, I guess.
Fantastic. No, that's good. And definitely what you said about getting in touch with sales, because in a lot of organizations, that's the pulse. They know they're on the front line, as it were, so they know exactly what's happening. And also, let's say moving, forward, I mean, what is the one thing that's taking up a lot of your time at the moment? Where's your focus going right now with everything that's happening?
Yeah, well, we've just been making some really big announcements for our business. We've always been strong in edge Kubernetes. You can deploy on small devices, say in a restaurant or at an industrial site. Just made a really big announcement around edge security. That's taking up a huge a lot of my time. We've also just launched the government edition of our product, which is highly secure for regulated industries and US government. So there's a whole new audience for us in terms of us as marketers there, which needs special content and user journeys building around. So it's as always really starting with the audience and going from there.
Fantastic. So sounds like a lot of exciting things happening at the moment. So like what I want to do is look, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast today. But I want to give you the last word. I mean, if someone forgets everything that we just spoke about and you want to leave them with one thing to remember about, Spectro Cloud, I mean, what would that be?
If your business uses Kubernetes and you're finding it painful, we can make it easy.
Perfect. Nice, short and crisp. So that is it. And thank you so much for joining today. And I'm looking forward to getting some feedback from our listeners. I'm sure they'll have enjoyed it too. So that is it. And looking forward to seeing everybody on the next episode of Pat Monk Presents. All the best and bye-bye.